Welcome to Enlightened Masculinity, everybody. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD. It says it right there, Pimpin' Yogi. Founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation, here from IMC Base 1. I'm broadcasting. This is episode like 306 or something, 307. So we've got a lot of episodes of Enlightened Masculinity. Almost all of them, actually all of those, are posted on all of the podcast apps, Apple, Spotify, you know them all. So Podbean. So if you're catching it there, then leave a review, follow the show. If you haven't caught them there, then you could go and find Enlightened Masculinity there. And there are some phenomenal episodes. The titles and descriptions are pretty accurate. And something that might be of interest to you is just to see the evolution here of myself. We get so accustomed to each other. Sometimes it's difficult to recognize when someone has really changed, or how they've changed, or how much they've changed when you yourself are changing, or when you're on the process with them. Sometimes, you're like a fish in water. You don't realize you're in water. But if you can kind of step out and see how I was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, just a difference in tonality, a difference in the vocabulary, probably not huge changes. That's why if you go back 4 years, you'll see huge changes. That might be inspiring to, some people. Change is very possible. I still feel very young on this process. I'm 36 years old at the recording of this, or my body is 36. And, so in many ways, I feel like an 8-year-old because I found this stuff about 8 years ago. Maybe up to 10 years ago, I found like personal development or whatever. And this is the Enlightened Masculinity Process is what the episode, because I had all these ideas and I'm like, man, that's not a good title. That's not a good title. But I realized that all of these ideas I have are like part of the process that I'm applying to my life. So much of it learned from my mentor, Arash Dibazar, who I live with here at IMC Base 1, founder of IMC Nation, and just whatever innovations and realizations that I have along the way. We follow other teachers. I listen to Michael Singer a lot, has been in my mind lately. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, I apply that technique just all the time. And so we'll get into it. Let's see. I have a little bit of notes right here. I'll just look at that. One of the readings that I recommend for people, and I think it's good for girls also. If a girl really wanted to understand me a little bit more, would be The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I haven't finished it yet, but there's a lot in there that reminds me of myself on my journey. Guy's an athlete, finds a spiritual teacher. The spiritual teacher is not teaching him the way that he thought spirituality should be. It's a lot of kind of pushing your buttons and giving you the opposite of what you think. Like, you need to not drink and smoke so much. You should clean up and fast. And then once you fasted and cleaned up, and then he's like, okay, let's go out drinking. And you go, what? And then you go out and get shit-faced drunk. And then it's just swinging the pendulum both ways so that you become less attached to there's a right way to do this. The right way to do this is to not be so attached to there being like a right way, like the virtue, like the stoicism. There's another school of thought that we study from a lot. Like I was reading my stoic book this morning. Oh, what is it? Oh, there's a quote here. Let's see. I underlined it. Disasters, therefore, and losses and wrongs have only the same power over virtue that a cloud has over the sun. So when someone wrongs you, when you lose something, something breaks, a disaster happens, that has the ssame power over limiting your virtue as a cloud does uninhibiting the sun. It may seem like, it's not, and that's powerful. It's not to say that you never get down about shit. You're never sad about something that happens. You let it go, just like a cloud blocks out the sun sometimes, but it's not going to be cloudy always forever. Maybe in certain places of the planet, but it's an analogy. So you don't let it make you non-virtuous just because something that against your liking happened. You know what I mean? In The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, today he was talking. The book was written however long ago. Today I was reading something in there, and it was like a war. Fuck, let's just grab that book too. Shit, this is gonna be quote day. What does it say here? I like to underline shit. Old urges continue to arise. This is like a Diamond Bavell syntax. Here, I'll do my British accent. Old urges continue to arise, but urges do not matter. Only actions do. A warrior is as a warrior does. It's pretty good, right? Old urges continue to arise, but urges do not matter. This is good. You know, I think, pretty sure my girl is on. That's my girl right there. You know who you are. We were just messaging. You know who you are. Old urges continue to arise, but urges do not matter. Actions do. A warrior is as a warrior does. And even my girl is a warrior of a feminine nature. You're a warrior, spiritual warrior. Okay? Fuck those urges. Okay? And if you're not certain if the action is good or not, then take a pause, take a step back. And if it's time pressing, if it's urgent, you got to act, you got to do something, then make your best judgment and learn and grow from it. It's not the end of the world. Worse things have happened and your relationship has survived. So just do it. Or ask, you know, advice or whatever. Okay. So that's just some of the readings. You know, urges versus actions, shining amidst obstacles. That was great. Actually, those are my first two notes. You know, then my readings, actually, this is going into, man, that would have been great to talk about just the reading list. That would have been a better title. The reading list of an enlightened masculine man. No, whatever. I'm not even enlightened. But more than most guys, it's like not even close. It's just pathetic. Like most guys are so unaware of their inner world, the inner reality. They don't understand or have a concept of whether they're resisting a thought or whether they're resisting what's happening on the outside world. And the thing about it is the outside world is only perceivable through your senses. It is experienced through your senses in your mind. The outside world is just your mind. The mind is the outside world. The mind is outside of you. Your senses are outside of you. Everything besides you is outside of you. The mind, your emotions, your senses, the physical world, your body is outside of you. Your body is outside of you. So resistance is in the body is resistance from the outside world. And the Michael Singer process, becoming very aware, more and aware, transcendental meditation, very similar, becoming more and more aware of the thoughts, the perceptions that are, I was going to say tensifying. They're tensing you. They're creating tension and resistance and confinement in your heart. Little anxiety. I had some anxiety about jujitsu yesterday. I was going to go to jujitsu. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Almost every time I get hella nervous, anxious before jujitsu. And almost every time after jujitsu is done, I'm like, I can't wait to go tomorrow. And which I don't, because I don't practice 2 days in a row. I do 2 days a week. And it's just like, the fear is from injury or whatever, which I've already like injured these fingers, injured my rib, injured my nose. You know, my knee is a little sore. It's not really injured, but I mean, I got fucking healed in the nose and it was flat over there. I had to push it back over. Like little injuries. We're not even going that hard. It's not even close to the wrestling days. In the wrestling days, it was just like, man, we were brawlers, but I'm 36. Like at the time, I was much younger. And so it's stupid. It's a little anxiety, like totally cowardice. Like, it's not even the case, you know? All of the injuries I've gotten from the jiu-jitsu so far has been me being overly reckless, overly aggressive, not really trying to learn the art form, but trying to win like a wrestler. And just like a drug addict, trying to pick it up where I left off. I can't pick up with the intensity I left off with wrestling. That was 15 years ago. I had a different body. I had years of accumulating the strength and the skeletal integrity to do that action. Take 15 years off. You can't just jump back in how you did. And the truth is I was always holding back, but maybe not cautiously enough, maybe not aware enough. And so now like I'm just enjoying the process more. But even with hot yoga, go to Bikram yoga, like that shit sucks. It's so fucking hot in there. Person's yelling at you. I want to do different poses, blah, blah, blah. All this complains. And like, so before class, I feel this like anxiety bubbling up between like my diaphragm and my throat. It's just like, it's like it's almost like a thermometer that's about to boil over or something. And it's like, I do my meditation before, settle it down. Most guys don't have a sensitivity inside that, oh, you're experiencing that. They just are acting in the world without the inner awareness. And it's a journey. Once you become aware of some things happening inside, it's not like all of a sudden you're enlightened. It's like you get glimpses of awareness. Most of the day you're still ignorant. Then you get more awareness and less ignorance, then more awareness and less ignorance. And then challenges happen and you turn ignorant again of your inner experience. And then life is peachy and you're more aware of your inner experience. And you keep expanding on the awareness until ideally most of your day or all of your day, you're aware of the emotions inside, not because I need to be such a feeling creature, but because if you're not aware of the emotions inside, it's going to unconsciously affect your communication and your behavior and your decisions and your state of mind. And that's going to have a compound effect, an accumulating effect on your tomorrow and the next day, cause and effect, karma, right? If you miscommunicate today, you're going to have some problems to deal with in the future. And it's going to take up your time. Like there's one guy in IMC right now. He's a mid-level guy. I wouldn't call him a high-level guy, but mid-level in his commitment, and he's been around and whatever. And man, he just bird boxed the last couple of days. And I read his text messages to my girl, and she was just rolling laughing because she knows how absurd a girl is when she bird boxes and they say the most ridiculous things. This guy was saying just dumb shit, but aggressively, like picking fights, calling me names, just like whatever, dude. And it's like, why was I going into that? Amends, no, the sensitivity inside the process, really karma. Oh man, taking up so much of my goddamn time. Fuck, dude. I wish I could just tell the guy like fuck, but it's not my business. I am liaison of this business. So I'm holding to an integrity that's bigger than me. Probably good because I'd probably miscommunicate and create future problems for myself. But it's taken so much time to deal with this fucktard, this complete idiot in this state of mind. I mean, he's a great guy when he's not in the state of mind, but when he's bird boxing, he's fucking insane. And he's a liability. And I get why girls wouldn't want to be with him. And I get why he doesn't have friends. Because if you can't be reliable, if you're a great guy 9 days out of 10, but on the 10th day you're a douchebag, nobody wants to be your friend. You're not dependable as a character. You're a wild card. You know what I mean? But it's taken my time to handle him. And he doesn't realize because he's at a lower power level. He doesn't realize that every hour I'm spending with him, it's probably been about an hour at this point, is time that I'm not doing outreach to new IMC guys or to other IMC guys that need a little help or a little conversation or producing something for my teacher to promote the business. There's so many valuable things I could do for the tribe because I'm responsible for the tribe, a tribe of hundreds of men. He's selfishly taking the time just for him. But I'm in a position that I can't just ignore it because that would be irresponsible. I'm evolving in the process too. So it's just like stoicism, all things are to my advantage. I'm evolving in the process. I'm learning how to handle his miscommunication better, how to create boundaries, how to block, how to deflect, how to resolve, how to come in with intelligence, even though he's saying inflammatory things that would incite me to, tell him off in all sorts of ways that I would just discard the guy. Cut him up to pieces by just peering into his subconscious mind how I do and saying things that I know he has agreements with. That's what people do when they're flinging insults at you. They're trying to get your agreement with them so that you're emotionally affected. The better at perception you are, the more you can emotionally affect people because you can see what they really think of themselves. Okay. So what that guy needs to do, and it's just related to my next note, what that guy needs to do is make amends. It's not we need to get on a phone call so that you can resolve it with me. That's just taking more of my time. You're taking more of my time to help you with your problem. Which I don't mind helping, guys, but you've kind of depleted this fuel right now. I had a whole fuel reserve to help you. One of the guys who's from Canada, he's been around a lot. He gets a lot of shout out. But man, that guy, Jesus. He stopped attending camps 4 months ago. Then 3 weeks ago, he signed up for camp. On the day that I messaged him that, hey, there's this new offer about camp. He signed up, and within like an hour, he sent me a message. I have a question about a girl. And it was just, it was the kind of question that was so obvious he wasn't on the last 4 camps because the question would have been answered in the last 4 camps. I gave him my answer. I obviously wasn't satisfied with it. He didn't even fucking acknowledge it. And then last night he asks AZD the same question. Dude, you're so caught up over this girl. It was a girl question. He's got one-itis over a girl. And it's just so ironic, dude. You stop and in his messages to me, it turns out he started seeing her when? 4 months ago. It was an ex-girlfriend that came back. He was so distraught over a year and a half ago. She came back. He somehow got her to come back. 4 months ago, he stopped attending camps, started dating the bitch again. Then the bitch breaks his heart again. and now he's attending camp again. Take a fucking lesson from your tribe mates, from your tribesmen, everybody. Don't fucking not attend camp just because you got with a girl. That's not the target. The goal isn't to get the girl. That's the kind of guy who doesn't attend camp because he's got the girl. He was just attending camp to get the girl. The girl isn't the prize. When are you going to get it? You're the prize. And if she doesn't see you as the prize, you're not communicating it well enough. She's maybe a high value female that you're not yet the prize to her. Give it enough time. The highest value female, she's going downhill at some point. And maybe it'll never happen. Melania Trump is going to be 80 years old one day, and you still may not be higher value than her, even though she's ugly. But what is she going to be looking at for value? She's not looking at to mate. She's not able to reproduce anymore. So what would be higher value to an 80-year-old Melania Trump? Okay, not every girl is for you. You might not, but you might not be trying to mate with her. So I mean, I don't know. That's kind of disqualified. She's not even qualified to be with you. So your value is going to keep going up, especially if you stay in IMC. Like I said, I'm 8 years at it. A lot of you guys are first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Shit. Wait until you're 20. You're still going to be able to have babies. Not that you're going to want to or need to, but that's the mating code. You're looking for that girl. It changes later on. I may not have kids with my girl and she's with me and she's only a few years younger than me. And it may be a point where I'm like 50 or 60 and she's over that. And okay, well, I got to look at that and be like, well, is it still to your benefit to be with me? Now, what are you going to do to be with me after? Well, you're still going to have all that sex appeal. You're still improving yourself. I'll bet you're going to be one of the hottest 50-year-olds on the planet the way you're going. I'm talking to her, even though I'm looking at the Zoom screen, because I know she's on Instagram. And you're going to make yourself so valuable. If you have a woman, guys, that's able to nurture and cultivate other younger, beautiful women, how to be with you, because my time is only going to get more and more in demand. I don't have time to educate new women on how to be with me. That's what I have 300 podcast episodes about. That's what I have a silent flute training program for. That's what I have my girl for. She's going to help you. That's very valuable. All of a sudden, a woman who's 50 years old, but can basically get you 30-year-olds, 25-year-olds, fucking whatever old, 18 to 39-year-olds. Now you're better than an 18-year-old, because an 18-year-old wouldn't be able to do shit. She's just an 18-year-old. She's a single girl. She's just one female. 18 is probably pushing people's buttons. They're like, dude, you're 36. Why would you get with an 18-year-old? You could be your dad. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's what I think about that. Finally got a rise out of a ways. Jesus. After I just sent you a very inflammatory message this morning and you show it to my podcast. Fuck. Learning to calibrate, you know. Recently, I was talking with my cousin. I might have talked about it last week. And I miscalibrated. He's younger than me. He needs help with women. And I was not sensitive to that. He's not in IMC. Like guys that are in IMC, I can push a little bit differently, push a little bit harder. But it's in my interest. It's in my benefit. I feel better at being able to help my cousin. And I wasn't able to help him because of my communication. I shut him down. I closed him off to help. I have to wait 6 months now until he opens up again. So I created that karma for myself, not being calibrated to the situation. And that is the case. Out of 300 guys, one guy I rubbed the wrong way. Man, don't think that I don't wish I was better. Don't think that I don't wish I knew better how to help you. Don't think if you're on this stream right now and you're not on the exorcist camp, even though it's practically free, I still think that there's a way for me to help you get on it. And there's a balance, because the more time I spend on you, the less time I spend on the next guy who is actually willing and ready to help. That's why we want abundance. I want to be talking to 3,000 guys so that I only fucking help the motherfuckers that really want help. I have choice amongst the guys that want to get it. If I only have 300 guys, there's some of you that are freeloaders, that are lazy. Just like if you're only talking to 2 women, or one of these guys, he's in Vegas, he's on IMC, he's been to one camp, and he has a girlfriend, he's 24 years old. That's what Enlightened Masculinity should be. I should just gossip about all the guys, so that the girls that are watching my stream know that I know something about guys. I know something about girls too. I'm very smart on this thing and getting smarter every day because I'm on a process, the Enlightened Masculinity Process. I've already given you book references and different processes like TM and talked about things, emotions, given you some stories. So the value has already been delivered. So we're just going to kind of wrap it up. And so he has a girlfriend of 5 months. He was saying that, man, it's so funny. Him and this guy that he works with, they were both here from Vegas a couple months ago. These average guys, fucking average motherfuckers. And they're like, we're not into the multiple women thing. We're just here because of the communication skills and the mindset and all this and that. Okay. By the end of the weekend, both of them, who had both said, we're not trying to have multiple women, both of them were talking about how difficult it will be to bring in other women because their girlfriends aren't going to be happy about that. Why did you change your mind, dude? Why'd they change their mind? Because they saw us go to the strip club. They heard all the conversations of the guys. They're around a bunch of other guys who are not dogging them or negating their desire to be with multiple women. That's what their life is. They go back to work. They go back to all the people they interact with, their family, their brothers, their fathers, their whatever. And those people are not accepting of that they want multiple women. So they have appeased all the men in their life and the women in their life, which are probably limited to mom, sister, and their girlfriend, by saying, no, I don't want multiple women. That's immature. No. Whatever the fuck they're saying. And now when they're confronted with the reality that they're surrounded by 20 guys who unapologetically are like, yeah, I'm with multiple women. She knows about it. He knows about it. They all know about it. If they have a problem with it, they can take a hike because I got options. Now all of a sudden they're faced with the reality that they're an outcast now. And you sound weak. And they can hear themselves. And by the end of the weekend, they're like, man, I just don't know how to do it. Okay, I give them some advice, this and that. A few months go by. They haven't attended more camps because for whatever the fuck their stupid reasons are. And he's saying, I don't know yet if I, want the multiple women thing. And it's just not a priority for me right now. I haven't experienced all the negative effects that you're talking about with monogamy yet. And I was like, how old are you? He says 24. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, you're 24. How long you been with her? 5 months. Okay, that makes sense. You're 5 months, probably in your first relationship ever. Dude, when I was in my first relationship, we fucked 3 times a day, every day. I swear to God. My girl's fucking hating me right now. She's like, God damn it, Chris. It just doesn't work like that anymore. Sorry. Not like, the unit doesn't work like that anymore, but also I'm a little dissent. I was such a repressed individual. I used to masturbate so much when I was like in my teens and in the high school years. It was just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And when I found a girl that was pretty good looking, that was giving me the admiration I wanted, admiring me like how I'd never been admired before, made herself so easy and available to me, and I hadn't had it before, man, it was like new pussy every fucking time. But it was also a lot of fighting, a lot of makeup sex, a lot of toxicity that we just were resolving through sexuality. And it probably jaded me a lot with sex in the future relationships that I had. That still healing trust. Like she says to my mom, I got my girl to talk to my mom the other day, so she helped out my mom. Value, that's valuable to me. Thank you. I wasn't available at that time. You helped her out. Dang, that's pretty valuable. And she says to my mom, like, as I'm getting more trust from Chris or whatever. You wonder why I'm not trusting? Probably from that first relationship. So you might not like that, she got all that sex from me. Well, she's also a single mom with a bunch of, and her life is ruined. And thank God it wasn't for me. And so I don't think it really worked out that well for her. And, for me, I'm like, that's why I don't trust, because that bitch did some crazy ass shit. And I was on drugs at the time. So it really left deep impressions. So moving on, what was I saying? Oh, 24. Yeah, monogamy. You're in a 5-month relationship. You're still in the honeymoon phase, dude. Just give it enough time. You're going to be not appreciating each other, nagging, she's going to trying less hard. She's going to be talking to other guys. You don't even know how, what you like from women if you're not talking to multiple women. If you've only been with one relationship, you barely even understand. She's going to whittle down your standards for her because she's cut you off from other options. You have cut off your other option. He probably didn't even have other options because he's not exactly he's a handsome, charming guy. As a 24-year-old, he's got a bright future, I think. Tall, white, full head of hair, ambitious, got a business, entrepreneur with a guy friend. So he's got a tribe that he's working with. And he's part of a big bigger tribe, IMC, like that dude has a very bright future if he wanted it to be. And she probably sees that. And it's in her interest that he's monogamous, because then she gets to take all that advantage of that and use him and whittle him down, because pretty soon, like Pavlovian conditioning, you ding the bell and the dog salivates even if there's no food. Pretty soon, he's going to be under her thumb for sex. And since he's cut off other girls, he doesn't have really quick access to other sex. She has quick access anytime she wants, if she's got good looks at all. He doesn't have access to that. And it's going to be very disturbing for him. And so take note of this. Always take note of this. Everybody take note of this. Your ability to attract and seduce new women atrophies. It weakens the more you're in a monogamous relationship. You don't know how to get new girls the longer you're with just one girl. It's going to be very frustrating and a shock to you when you're out of that relationship and you go start trying to get new women. You're going to realize, man, my pickup game suffered being with that girl. You're going to be looking for admiration. They're not going to give it to you. Women in the world, they are very negative people. Even if, like, my girl is going to just mad dog a motherfucker that tries to talk to her or just walk away. But even girls not like that, more open and free-loving women, they are so negative and they jump at every opportunity to cut down a guy that approaches them. Not to make him not approach them, but because that's just how they relate to men. They dog on men, they talk shit about it. It's just stupid. So that, and it's interesting because the ability to plow through that negativity with the proper responses that transmute her negativity into loving admiration, she's still going to misbehave. The best player on the planet, I live with him, he still gets bitches misbehaving. I'm with him when it happens. I'm around him. I hear them on the phone. The women are in a bad condition, just like men are in a very bad condition. And we have found a recipe here to slingshot ourselves out of orbit on this prison planet using the gravity of male-female attraction and understanding the physics of communication. Dan, Diamond Bavella is like, that's going in a poem. That was good, Yogi Chris. Everybody, Diamond Bavella is a freestyle poet, slam poet from UK. Okay. Are there any questions or comments on any of that? I know I kind of jumped around a lot. See any other make amends? I kind of evolved with ended with like making amends. I kind of jumped off that topic. You know, if you do someone wrong, you got to do more than the wrong you did. If you violate someone, you got to do more than what you did. Apology, you can't just unbreak a dish. You got to do more. If you're rude to your dad, you got to make up for it. I called my dad the other day and apologized for something I did 16 years ago. And that's still not good enough. I'm going to buy him a sauna. I'm going to make enough money so I can buy him a $3,000 or $4,000 sauna, have it installed on his property, because he's too injured to even go to the gym. He's got spinal fusions and shit from military and football and whatever. So, but that's still not, because I got to make amends for all the misbehavior of my life. So my parents are going to retire well. And, you know, when you do someone wrong, make amends for it. Like what is that going to, you got to figure that out. What's the value to them? Humble yourself. And I think that's the gist of it. I had a couple of other notes, actually specifically dealing with game and evolutionary psychology, which I think you guys like, but I have some business to do, so I don't want to just like go on, ramble on. So if you like this episode, leave a review. That's funny. I see your comment there. Smoothie sounds good though. And yeah, so leave a review, shout it out, let people know, get people involved in IMC. If you guys got guy friends, like get involved in IMC, like get them on the newsletter, get them on the Telegram groups, get them joining an open class, spread the good word, you know? And I'll see you guys on the next one. I mean, I like that you guys attend. I wish there was more participation, but I don't really see any, so I don't want to drag it on. So see you guys every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Sometimes I do bonus episodes, and leave that review. Os, J. Guru Dev.